Hi everyone, this is a video tutorial for circle geometry, also known as circle theorems for CSEC mathematics. So first we are going to look at parts of a circle, and to recall, the circumference is the distance around the circle, the outer part of the circle represented by the bold circle here. A radius is a line that goes from the center of the circle to the circumference. A chord, as shown on the diagram by the blue line, is a straight line connecting 2 points on the circumference, so it touches the circumference at 2 points. A diameter is a chord which passes through the center of the circle, and it is also twice the length of the radius. So a diameter is a chord because it touches 2 points on the circumference, but it has a special property of passing through the center of the circle. And a tangent is a line that's outside of the circle and it touches the circumference at exactly 1 point. So for our circle geometry or circle theorems, we have 9 theorems that we are going to learn. So theorem 1, the angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference standing on the same arc or chord. So this is the angle at the center. This is the angle at the circumference, and this angle here at the center is 2 times the size of this angle. So for example, if this angle here is 100 degrees, then this one will be half of that, which is 50, or vice versa. If we know that this one is 50, then we know this is 2 times that, which is 100 degrees. Angles at a circumference standing on the same arc or chord are equal. So these 2 angles here are on the circumference of the circle, and both of them would be equal. So if this one happens to be 60 degrees, then this one would also be 60 degrees. And I did mention before that circle theorem or circle geometry involves finding the size of angles in a given diagram, which involves a circle. So we have a few theorems that we are going to learn in terms of how to identify different angles or ways of finding and calculating angles within a circle. Theorem 3. The angle in a semicircle, subtended by a diameter is 90 degrees. So this dot on the diagram represents the center of the circle. This line here is the diameter of the circle. So if I have a diameter, then it divides the circle into 2 equal parts, or 2 semicircles. And in the semicircle, this angle produced by extending both ends of the diameter would give 90 degrees. And that's just a rule that you have to learn, that the angle in a semicircle subtended by a diameter is 90 degrees. Theorem 4. We have a definition. A cyclic quadrilateral is a quadrilateral within a circle in which all 4 vertices touches the circumference of the circle. So remember that a quadrilateral is any shape with 4 sides, a closed shape with 4 sides. So a cyclic quadrilateral is just a shape with 4 sides that in which all 4 vertices, or that's the corners, touches the circumference of the circle. And in a cyclic quadrilateral, opposite angles are supplementary. Supplementary means that they add up to 180. So if this angle here is 100 degrees, then this angle is a 180 minus 100, which is 80 degrees. That's how we calculate it. And this rule that for the theorems of cyclic quadrilaterals, this applies to quadrilaterals, again, where the 4 vertices touches the circumference of the circle. And theorem 5 also involves cyclic quadrilaterals. For a cyclic quadrilateral, the exterior angle is equal to the interior opposite angle. So exterior meaning outside of that quadrilateral, and this is the interior angle that's opposite to that one. Alright, so if this angle here is 120 degrees, then this interior opposite angle would also be 120 degrees. Theorem 6. A radius and a tangent at a point of contact is 90 degrees. So we know that this is a radius because it's going from the center of the circle to the circumference. We know that this line at the bottom is a tangent because it's outside of the circle and it touches the circumference at exactly 1 point. So our rule applies that the radius and a tangent at a point of contact creates a 90-degree angle. Theorem 7. This line at the bottom in the diagram is a tangent. This solid line here is a chord. Alright, so the theorem says that the angle between a chord and a tangent is equal to the angle in the alternate segment. So again, this is the tangent and this is the chord. The angle in between those two would be this angle E. If I should have another angle subtended on this side, represented by this dotted line, this angle formed here would also be the same size as this angle here. So this is in the alternate segment. So therefore, if this value here is 50 degrees, then this one would also be 50 degrees. Theorem 8. Two tangents from an external point are equal. So with this line is a tangent, here it touches a circle at just one point. This line is also a tangent that touches a circle at just one point. And if we should draw a line connecting these 2 points where they touch, then it creates an isosceles triangle. So that is commonly where this theorem is used in terms of creating an isosceles triangle. And just to recall that an isosceles triangle is one in which there are two equal sides and two equal angles. So these are the two equal sides and the two equal angles are opposite the equal sides. Theorem 9. Two radii connected by a chord forms an isosceles triangle. Radii is just a plural of radius. And this is a radius here from the center to the circumference. This is another radius from the center to the circumference. And a line connecting both of them here forms an isosceles triangle. And just as mentioned before, an isosceles triangle means that two sides are equal. So this side and this side would be equal. Both of them would be equal because a radius drawn at any point in a circle would be the same length. So therefore, this side is equal, this side is equal. So it's an isosceles triangle, and that means that the two base angles, or the angles opposite the equal sides, are also equal. So now that we have looked at all the theorems, we are going to see how we can apply our knowledge to the examples. But before we do that, for angles that are calculated in any question involving circle theorems or circle geometry, a reason must be given for how the answer was derived or gotten. So for each angle in the question, you need to state a reason after calculating it. And the reason would be the theorem that is used. So it's important to learn all the theorems and know how to identify them in a given diagram. For the examples below, the appropriate theorem would be stated and quoted as theorem 4, theorem 3, or so on, with reference to the notes given on circle geometry, which is the same order as what I just did previously in the video. And it's just important to note as well that there is no specific order for the theorems. So in any solution, the full theorem must be stated in detail. So for an exam, especially for a CSEC exam, you cannot write the reason is just theorem 2. You need to state what the theorem is because there's no specific order for the theorems. So theorem 2 could be anything. Alright, I am just stating the theorem number as well, so you can go back to see exactly which one I'm talking about. But as I said, you need to state the entire theorem as your reason in your calculations for your assignment and for your exams. So example 1, the diagram below, not drawn to scale, shows a circle. They tell us that the points P, Q, R, T, and V are on the circumference. QRS is a straight line. Angle PVR is 75 degrees and TRS is 60 degrees. All of that information is shown on the diagram. Determine the value of each of the following angles and show detailed working when necessary. Give reasons to support your answer. So part 1, find angle PTR. So this is our original diagram and we want to calculate angle PTR. So that is PTR. So that's this angle here. And I just highlighted on the diagram in orange so that we'll know which theorem we are using. And we are using theorem 2 that says two angles at the circumference standing on the same arc or chord are equal. So that means that this angle and this angle would be the same. So angle PTR is equal to angle PVR, and we state our reason. So therefore PTR is equal to 75 degrees. Part 2, find angle TPQ. So TPQ on the diagram would be this angle here. So consider the cyclic quadrilateral TPQR. So again, a cyclic quadrilateral is a shape with four sides in which the four corners touches the circumference of the circle. So the points T, P, Q, and R are on the circumference of the circle, so that makes it a cyclic quadrilateral. And then we have our theorem that we use, theorem 5, that the exterior angle in the cyclic quadrilateral is equal to the interior opposite angle. And this is the angle that we want to find, angle TPQ, that's this one. Alright, so the exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to the interior opposite angle. So this is going to be the same size as this angle, which is 60 degrees. Part 3, find the obtuse angle POR, where O is the center of the circle. Now, there is no O shown on the diagram, so we need to do a sketch in this case. We find the center of the circle and label this as O, and I'm just doing a dotted line to represent that angle POR. So to find the angle POR, I'm going to use theorem 1 that says the angle at the circumference is twice any angle the angle at the center is twice any angle at the circumference standing on the same arc or chord. So that means that gives us this shape here that I have highlighted, that this angle at the center is 2 times the angle at the circumference. Now the orange dotted line could have also been drawn to the point V and then to R as well. It would be the same. So this angle we had found from the previous part, which is the same as this one, which is 75 degrees. And the angle at the center is 2 times that one. So it's 2 times 75, which is equal to 150 degrees as stated above. Hence, angle POR is equal to 2 times angle PTR, which is equal to 2 times 75, which is equal to 150 degrees. So again, this angle at the center is 2 times this angle at the circumference from theorem 1. So then this would be 75 multiplied by 2, which is 150 degrees. Example 2. The diagram below shows a circle. The center is labeled O, and we have a line DCE, which is a tangent to the circle. We are given 2 angles within that circle, this one here, which is 48, and this one, which is 26. Part 1, find angle OCE. So angle OCE is this angle here. And we did a theorem that a radius and a tangent at a point of contact is 90 degrees, that's theorem 6. So therefore, angle OCE would be 90 degrees because OC is a radius. It goes from the center to the circumference. They tell us in the question that this is a tangent. We would know it's a tangent even if they didn't specify because it only touches the circle at one point. So a radius and a tangent at the point of contact will give us a 90-degree angle. Alright, so OCE is 90 degrees. And the angle that we want to find is angle OCA. So that's this little part of the angle here. And if this big angle is 90 degrees, represented by the red dotted line, then this part would be 90 minus 48, which is 42 degrees. Part 2, find angle AOC. So I'm just highlighting the relevant parts on the diagram. So AOC would be this part of it here. We just found from the previous part that this piece is 42 degrees. And also we have learned a theorem, theorem 9 to be exact, that triangle AOC would be an isosceles triangle since OC and OA are radii of the circle. Alright, so from theorem 9, we know that if OA and OC are both radii of the circle, then this gives us an isosceles triangle. Therefore, this angle and this angle would be equal. So if I want to find angle AOC, we know that angles in a triangle add up to 180. So AOC would be 180 minus this one and this one, and in which both of them being the 42 degrees. So angle AOC equal 180 minus 42 plus 42, and working on the brackets first, that gives us 84, and then 180 minus 84 equal 96 degrees. Part 3, find angle ABC. So ABC I have highlighted up here as well, so this is the angle that we want to find. Angle ABC is 2 times angle AOC, because we know that the angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. And this angle from the previous part was 96 degrees, and this angle is 2 times the one at B. So then to get this angle ABC, we need to divide by 2, because this is twice the size of the one at the circumference. So okay, there was a little error. I had multiply here at the top, but it's actually divide, right? So the angle at the circumference is half of the angle at the center. If the angle at the center is twice the circumference angle, then we need to divide by 2 to find this one. So angle ABC is equal to angle AOC divided by 2, which is equal to 96 divided by 2, which is equal to 48 degrees. All right, so next part of the question. Find angle BCD. So from our diagram, BCD is this angle here. And just a point to note, just as before, OC is a radius and this line is a tangent, and before we had this angle being 90 degrees, but on the other side, this side is also 90 degrees. So if I want to find this part of the angle, it's 90, take away 26, which gives 64 degrees, and your reason being the theorem, a radius and a tangent at a point of contact is 90 degrees. So this one is relatively straightforward and very similar to the part that we did previously. And the last part, find angle BAC. So from our diagram, BAC would be this part, BAC would be this part highlighted by the blue arc. So that's this angle that we want to find. And the angle, looking at theorem 7, the angle between a chord and the tangent is equal to the angle in the alternate segment. And BC is a chord, DCE is a tangent. So this angle between the chord and the tangent is equal to the angle in the alternate segment. So if I have this red dotted line extended from that chord, then this is the angle that would be equal to this one. And we have found this angle in the previous part of the question, which is 64 degrees. And then we know that this would be the same as this one. And again, you need to state your reason, which is the theorem that the angle between a chord and a tangent is equal to the angle in the alternate segments. And in some questions for circle geometry or circle theorems, we may have to find an angle in which that you might need to work out other angles before being able to find the one that the question is actually asking you to find. So in an exam, they could have just asked you to find BAC without this being the previous part of the question, and you'll need to know, well, I have to find this one before I could work out BAC and so forth. And also there are more than one ways of working out angles. So if you have a method of working it out that is different from mine, as long as you are using appropriate theorems or rules in mathematics and you arrive at the same answer, then your method would also be correct. So that's the end of our circle geometry video. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you.